Previously on Balls.
Nice to catch up with old friend Thinus Delport.
Darren Scott, how are you doing?
Very good, thank you. You're looking as young as you were when you first started playing for the... You were still Transvaal in those days.
Yeah, I know, the Gauteng Lions. Yeah, I see my receding hairline is not just as bad as yours.
Hey, easy now. Where's this accent coming from?
Look, my friend, if you live in the UK for about 10 years and married to a lovely English rose, then you're going to bounce to pick up.
Listen, my friend.
Great, it sounds brilliant.
Thinus Delport, listen, my friend, if you live in the UK for all these years and you're married to an English rose, are you putting that...
Quintessentially English, my friend. Quintessentially English.
Yes.
I mean, whoever thought Thinus Delport would use a word like quintessentially?
It is hard to believe.
Lekker. How long have you been over there now?
Well, I moved over to the UK in July 2002.
Hey.
So 6 years with the Premiership rugby over here, and 2 years in Japan. And this is my third year back from Japan. Yeah, so it's been quite a while.
So are you now settled there? Are you now a POM?
Darren, I have got the passport. You know, I've got the Burgundy passport to prove. But now I would love to return back to South Africa, but it all just depends on opportunities. But carving out a life here on this side of the pond.
It looks nice. What is that behind your head there? Is that a horings van een of ander bok?
Ja, but dis net 'n gipshoring. Dis nie 'n regte horing.
Oh, that's okay. It's nie 'n jagter nie.
Nee, dis nie 'n regte bokhoring nie.
See, I've got that right. I used to ask Afrikaans guys that, so jy's nie jags nie.
Het jy 'n horing?
Bokhoring.
Oh my goodness. All right. So who would have thought Thinus Delport would be a flight risk all those years ago? And there he is. He's in the UK. All right. And family, what does the family consist of there in the Delport household?
Yeah, no, I've got my wife Laura. Then I've got a son, Roan Jacques Delport. He's 2 years and 8 months old. And then I've got a little girl she's almost 6 months, and she's called Holly Rose.
So,
Holly Rose.
So your wife decides on the girls' names, and you decided on the boys' names.
Yeah, and I was adamant. I was adamant to keep the roots, some of the roots, the Afrikaans roots. So we agreed on the one. Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Well, you're looking very well. Your profile picture on Skype, by the way, you might get a couple of medical officers asking questions if they say if you really look like that.
No, those were in the good old days, Darren, when you could still slip them something underneath the table, you know.
Yeah. All right. Now, I was going to ask you something else again as well. Now, when you say you'd want to come back, but to what opportunities? You're talking rugby opportunities or business opportunities?
Well, both really. Rugby and /or business opportunities. But I've been out of the country so long now, and unfortunately, my World Cup year will be remembered as the year that we were leopard crawling naked through the bush.
Yeah. Not good times.
In between, there's been another glorious World Cup winning side. So, there are limited opportunities for ball breaking bush crawlers, unfortunately, in South Africa.
Ja, nie bokhoring nie. I think those years you had a hakhoring.
Yeah, anyway.
I could steek horing. All right, well, those days are long past there, and yeah, I mean, it's you used to be involved in a restaurant here or something some time ago, weren't you?
Yeah, I was on partnership with Werner Swanepoel when he returned from England at the Dross Randburg.
That's right.
We've parted ways with the Dross, and Smiley's gone his own way. I see he's carving a lovely career for himself on Supersport, and he's also a financial advisor with advisory house in Pretoria.
All right, cool. Well, and your wife is quite happy to come back if you decide to come back.
Well, it depends on the opportunity. We'll have to have a discussion and a debate about it, weigh up the pros and cons. But it's part of being in a relationship with someone from an overseas country. So it's always in the back of our heads, and we'll discuss if there's an opportunity arising.
What's keeping you busy there at the moment, business-wise?
Rugby.
Yeah. No, I've got a few involvements. I'm doing some broadcasting work on Sky Sports.
I hear so, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, the Southern Hemisphere stuff. So happily the South African leg conference is kicking off tomorrow night. So, on Friday night. So looking forward to that.
I believe John Smith's trying to muscle in on your territory there.
Yeah, no, we're going to have a scrum, I think, outside Sky Studios.
We'll film it and send it to us.
Then I'm also do a bit of coaching at a local club here in Cheltenham where I live, which is a level 5 UK level 5 club.
Okay.
But mainly I do some work for the Youth Sports Trust and for the Dane Kelly Holmes Trust, which are both sports-based intervention programs focusing on disengaged young people and trying to get them back into sports and sort of try and change their behaviors and increase their confidence levels and trying to improve their life skills so that they can re-engage in society. So yeah, it's keeping it quite busy, and it's just really building my experience base after rugby. Being in rugby so long, unfortunately it's a very insular activity to be a part of, section to be part of, and you don't get a lot of experience outside of rugby, and it's all about building my experience base, really.
One of the things that always struck me about South Africans going and playing over there seems to be a refinement about rugby over there, and what I'm saying is that a lot of our players, we've got this really good raw talent, but sometimes I just think we lack in our rugby sort of things that refine our players and just polish them off a little bit. And a lot of our players go over there and get very polished in their game. And sometimes when they come back and play here, they're completely different. But it's almost like they've had this sort of final things done to them in their rugby, and they just seem more rounded and more refined as rugby players. What is it about that? What do you put your finger? What do you put it down to?
I think the pressures on playing in the Northern Hemisphere are much different than the Southern Hemisphere. We, apart from this year with the Super Rugby, with the Lions getting relegated, allowing the Kings to get in. Relegation and promotion is a day-to-day occurrence in Northern Hemisphere rugby, especially in the UK. So sides playing in the Premiership, you always have that thread of relegation hanging over your head. So in terms of that refinement, in terms of the professional approach really towards training and to the games, there's a lot more pressure on you. And I think that, for me, that was probably the big adjustment coming over playing in the UK, is where you don't really have that freedom of Super Rugby, that even though you're at the bottom, maybe the bottom place side, and still wanting to throw the ball around and have that freedom to throw the ball around, you have to have a bit different approach, because it's not just your personal contract on the line. It's also your teammates. It's also the club. The owners put a lot of money in it. So in terms of a business, if a club goes down, it's a massive loss. For them playing in the championship. One of the clubs I was in, or sort of still involved in, they went down recently.
Which club's that?
Worcester Warriors got relegated a couple of years ago.
See, he says Worcester. We had a TV show about 7-8 years ago where him and Ed Jordan and I ended up in a huge debate on how you pronounce it.
Yeah, you were insistent it was Worcestershire.
No, I brought the Worcestershire sauce out.
Worcestershire sauce.
We were having an argument about Worcester sauce. Can you believe it? Okay, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, but I mean, they, just this, the season they were down in the championship, the commercial loss they made were between £1 million and £2 million. So, all the clubs over here are run on business models, and it's much more of a business outlook and performance driven than the provinces in South Africa.
Yeah,
where you have the big brother that can always step in and help out. In the UK, it doesn't work like that. If you go under, you go down, you tumble down the leagues, and it's happened to a few clubs. Richmond was a high flying Premiership club, and they had to start from the bottom and regain promotion back into the higher hierarchy of English rugby.
Yeah.
Thinus, you mentioned when we just started talking that you were part of the 2003 squad, a bit of a dark time for Springbok rugby. We're speaking to Heineke tomorrow, and the rugby season we know kicks off this week. What do you make of what he's done with the Springboks?
Yeah, no, look, it was when he took over, it was he had very short preparation time, and I think he had a plan to work with that was tested and positive, results based due to the success he had at the Bulls, and he's weathered the storm. We've increased from third position to the second position in world rankings. So if you look back at that, it's been positive. So he took a new side with sort of importing new structures, and it was relatively successful. The big challenge now this year is going to be to build onto that. The standards have been set. I mean, South Africans naturally have a high expectation of the Springboks and always expect us to win. But you've got to take, from where he started and how he molded it. It's very comparative to where England are at this stage, where Lancaster had to do exactly the same. Yeah. And they've had that tremendous win over the All Blacks, the final game. And they're off to a very good start in the Six Nations. So they are showing that they are following on to those young players and new structures being implemented. And I think that's going to be the big challenge for Heineke and the team this year. And, to be honest, if all our boys stay injury-free, I think we're in for a really good year.
Well, it hasn't started off well with the likes of Etzebeth and who are the others that have gone? There's about 3 or 4 big names. Albert's out. Skalk has been out since last year, but I'm talking about guys that have got injured this year. So no, he'll want those guys back, but at least there's time. John Smith retiring as well, and also I suppose with Skalk talk that he might not play again. So those are things he's got to have to have in the back of his mind while he's trying to plan his year.
Yeah, I know. I mean, the biggest concerns would be Etzebeth, who's been, monstrous. He's the talk of the town over here on this side too. Whenever they talk about new players coming through, Willem Alberts and even Etzebeth were, they were some of the first guys being mentioned. And guys like Juan, is sad to see he retired, but he's been out for quite a while. Skalk hasn't played for a while, so it's not that they were featuring in last year's campaign. It's the injuries to these guys that were instrumental in sort of building the new way South African rugby is going that's injured, and I think that's the big concern. But it's a long old season, and it's about that's another thing managers can learn from Northern Hemisphere rugby, and especially Premiership rugby, is about management of players. Yeah. And that's going to be very important now, is about that management of the players and having the focus on, Springbok rugby, and realizing that, for Springbok rugby to go forward, these guys need to be fit. And there's going to have to be, a bit of give and take from the Super Rugby sides, franchises, that, you got to remember that Springbok rugby comes first, and it might affect them negatively, but you got to just keep on focusing on Springbok rugby.
Yeah. Who are your mates over there? Who are the guys that you hang out with?
Oh, my boy Ruan.
Okay. All right.
No, that's just life when you're not involved in a professional rugby setup anymore. You got to face life on your own. So
did you lose touch with your fellow players and former box and stuff, or do you still stay in touch with a lot of them?
No, still stay in touch with some of the guys over here. Occasionally speak to Kobus Versaghi and Michael Claessens, Francois Lowe, the guys I see, John Smith when we work at Sky Sports. But family life, Darren, and they are demanding the little rascals, and they spend all their time. And unfortunately, a lot of my teammates that played with me at Worcester, they've moved on to different clubs and retired, and you go your separate ways. You try and keep up, but it's quite tough.
Well, it's lucky to catch up with you. So nice to see you looking, as I say, you don't look a day older than the first time I ever met you.
Oh, thanks, Jan.
So you must let us know what that stuff is you're taking over there.
Yeah.
Well, it is. I'll tell you what it is. It's a friend of mine has just opened a pork and bacon restaurant in Cheltenham called Tangberry.
Yeah, right, Thinus. It's pork and bacon that makes you look like that.
Pork and bacon rolls, and I
what
tell
are
you
you rubbing it on your face, or?
Paulie has got a couple of charities he supports, and he sells what he calls the bacon bling. Now, that's the most expensive bacon roll. you can find in the world, and he's had amazing exposure on international media. He's been on
80%
ITV
horse,
this
apparently.
morning. So you Google bacon bling. It's a 150-pound bacon roll with gold dust and truffles. So that's keeping me nice and round around the cheeks.
I believe that somebody was admitted to hospital there the other day eating one of those burgers, and they apparently are in a stable condition.
Oh, John, shut up, man.
Don't laugh, Thinus.
Bacon Bling. I can just see Thinus' mate Bacon Bling going head to head with Dave van Hesselin's Boerie.
Gourmet
Boerie.
There's a massive balls challenge there. Tangberry's Bacon Blink against Boerie.
There we go. Gourmet Boerie. All right,
Gourmet
yeah. I've got these visions of diamond encrusted bacon.
Gold dust. Hey, gold dust. Gold dust sprinkled.
When we come over there and come look you up, we'll have to go and try out one of those.
Crispy bacon. Wow.
Lekker, Thinus. Well, nice to catch up with you again, bud. Look after yourself and all the best for you and the family. And when you're back in town again, let us know and catch up with you again sometime.
No, definitely do. Thanks for the call.
Only a pleasure.
Thinus, thank you.
Thinus.
Guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thinus Delport joining us there from Cheltenham in the UK. Post-rugby and
looking
still very
good.
involved, looking very, very fit and healthy. And
This is Balls Visual Radio. Darren, Simon, Kate, and John. Weekdays from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Central African Time. Balls.co.za.